Hey guys, it's Celine. This is my front door. It's Wednesday, and all week long, my neighbors have been drilling and sawing and doing all sorts of stuff. And so the noise level, there's an airplane, never mind. At the front end of the house, it's going to be just a bit less obnoxious, to me at least, Maybe occasional cars passing, not that bad. It's rather nice weather, and fairly warm. So I was, having everything open at the ground level of this house so as to have as much air as possible. It's like 25 degrees centigrade or something. Very nice, quite nice actually. We've been out for an ice cream, my husband and I, because today my new mattresses were delivered to the house. So that was pretty awesome because my old mattresses were dead 10 years ago. So it was high time something was done about that. So there's the huge benefit of, inheriting a little bit of money from somewhere I totally didn't expect to ever. It was somebody I'd never heard of even. So like a great aunt of my grandfather's, somebody like that. And so yeah, so we've been able to do a bit more spending, judicious and or pleasant types of spending. I've bought so many things. I've just sort of had a phase where I went like, okay, so if you want something, you just go ahead and do it. I just spent 40 euros, which is what, 50 US dollars, something like that, on a pajama. Because I felt like new bed. I have all this linen that's new. I also want new PJs. It's just gotta be. And this is not an amount that I normally spend on clothes. Everything I always wear is either handmade or thrifted or anything. So it's kind of unusual, and I've been worried about, will I be able to stop spending once that yeah. I bought recently 3 nice different patchouli oils, essential oils, fairly decent size bottles as well. So some money went into that, and so on and so forth, and crystals and decks and books, all sorts of things that I have wanted, just like everybody else, for years. Actually, been looking at stuff and seeing stuff with not that much margin to, just go ahead and do things. So I'm really happy with all my new stuff. I've got books that I was ogling 3 years ago already. About the Tumo. I finally got myself a book. I will show you. I'll do a proper haul at some point properly. Where I can actually show you the stuff. For now, somebody's clattering out there. Everybody seems to be building and doing things to the house at the moment. It's nice weather, so yeah, so people will do that. What else? In terms of check-in, I'm here to just show you my face and show you that I'm still alive and all that. I won't be here very long, I think, but I did want to share a couple more things. I think the most important for me is that ever since my last Decks for Decades video, I've actually been sort of recuperating from that, or trying to sort of find a new kind of equilibrium, I suppose, with my past, my recent past, my earlier past, and my present, and just sort of try to make sense of it all. And one thing that's actually helped me quite a bit is somebody else's, session that they did, Natalie at Sanskrit Blue. I will share a link down in the description. She's done a 7-day self-compassion tarot challenge where you pull self-compassion cards basically every day for yourself. So it's been something that I've watched. I've watched her go through this week, and sort of been with her for a bit, just like a lot of other people. Just listening to somebody talk and deal with things, and it's been so interesting, and seeing the cards that came out and for her, and how she dealt with those cards and what they meant to her and so on and so forth, inspired me to do the same. I am not sure I will go on for a week or maybe longer even, or maybe I will just incorporate this into my tarot life for a bit longer, because I find it really helpful. However, I've tweaked the thing just a bit, where this is my 4th day that I will be pulling my cards tonight. Probably I tend to do this in the end of the afternoon, or somewhere in the second half of the day or in the evening. And so I have done 3 sessions so far: Sunday, Monday and Tuesday. And what happened was that the first session I did on Sunday, it came out rather strange for me, and it actually sort of developed into something different. So here's what happened. You're supposed to pull cards, to shuffle and pull cards for yourself, one or more, depending on what you want or what feels right for you, where you're focused on what can I do to have self-compassion. How can I, or how does this present, or, in whatever shape or form is self-compassion present or whatever in my life, at the moment, at this time where I'm pulling my cards. So my first session, what I got was the 3 of Wands and the High Priest. And it was pulling from the Tao Musha, which is Muha, what people tend to call that, which is a very beautiful romantic type style deck that I thought I would enjoy, for this. And I may also go back to it later. It doesn't really matter that much what type of an image card I get, really. Only the High Priest, what with also its astrological association of the sign of Taurus, which is my mother's and my granddad's and a couple of other people in that family's star sign, sun sign, I should say. I went like, I don't see my self-compassion value in these 2 cards that much. I just saw a whole lot of solitude in the Tao Musha card of the 3 of Wands. There's this figure standing, looking out over the sea with the ships, very Rider-Waite. It's a total Rider-Waite clone otherwise. And all I picked up was this terrible loneliness and this very domineering high priest, figure with those 2 acolytes bowed down in front of him. And I was just kind of disgusted with it all, and I just didn't feel like that was my self-compassion intel for that moment. I just couldn't make sense of it. So what I did is I said to myself, okay, so let me pull another card from a neutral perspective. So like a non-self-compassionate perspective, if you like, a neutral or dispassionate perspective. And I got the King of Cups. So I went like, oh, what's this? How can this be? When the self-compassion side of things for me, it turns out to be this horrible high priest that I don't ever want to see in my life, not for 10 minutes. Thank you very much. And the dispassionate or passionless or emotionless, without emotion side is this guy, this King of Cups. Beautiful card. So I was shocked and at my wit's end, looking at those cards like, okay, so I really have to consider what they're doing for each other and what this really means, and what my I'm questioning my self-compassion perspective on my life, myself, doing this. So that made sense, actually. And I suppose more can be said about those cards and about this, but I just want to give you my conclusions as they were at the time. The next session, I had 2 5s, the 5 of Wands and the 5 of Cups, for my self-compassion side of things, and for my dispassionate side, I had the 5 of Swords. So I had to do a whole lot of thinking about that, and I'm using the astrological correlations and all the rest of it, and it kind of makes sense to me as well, where all that goes. And sometimes it takes some digging, and I have to, take time to dig at this. Yesterday, my third session was actually really potent, I suppose, because I had a more specific self-compassion oriented question for myself to use at that point, because it had to do with feeling alone, feeling lonely, and it was kind of painful in a way. There was kind of a pain in the loneliness, which is something I have suppressed in my life. Yes, it was always there, and I just always ignored it because there wasn't anything I thought I could do about it at that stage. And I couldn't help the way that went, and I couldn't help the way it felt. I got, on the self-compassionate side, the Hermit, the 5 of Cups again, and what was the last one? The 9 of Swords. I'm not even kidding. So I went like, oh, more 9 of Swords, more of this difficult stuff. What am I supposed to? What do you want? The dispassionate side gave me a Leo card, the Strength card. I'm a Leo. So it took me, a bit of mulling around before I realized that this is actually complementary to the earlier 2 sessions, where the dispassionate card, the contrast between the 2 sets, however many cards you have on either side, the contrast between them is the most informative. And actually, I have been all morning, so today's Wednesday, all Wednesday morning, going back and forth with all my things and my mattresses, and my friends been over for lunch and all the rest of it. In the back of my mind has been this notion that I find these things that have to do with self-compassion and vulnerability so hard to deal with because I am a Leo. Leos don't take well to vulnerability or to devaluation in particular. Makes sense? I suppose. Well, it makes tons of sense to me anyway. So I have gained this whole new, okay, now I see where I'm supposed to be going with this. So I feel enriched. It feels pretty good, actually. It's also kind of still, okay, so I'm growing more stuff as I do this. It's very supportive. It really is super supportive. So I'm really grateful that for all those guys out there who share these tags and these challenges and these things. It's just such a joy. All those people are really, being serious about what you can do with your life as a human. So I will be going on with this process for a little bit longer, see how long, probably until some time or other, where I'll just all of a sudden forget all about it for a while, and then, but the actual writing down for myself of my cards and the meaning and the correlations and the things, what they mean to me at that moment, is as important as drawing the cards. I really have to, keep track of things, and I'm enjoying this hugely. It's really beautiful. So I felt that was important. I think it's an important part for me to notice again how, you know, working with tarot makes a huge difference. You can actually do a lot of therapeutic work with those cards for yourself, and it doesn't really force itself on you, except for the Stalker cards, you know, Nine of Swords back in the day, always. Nine of Swords for me. So, other than that, I've got my patchouli oils. I'm going to make my own scented candles, probably very witchy candles that will contain graveyard dirt and charcoal from my fireplace as well, you know, to make them nice dark grey. And maybe I can film doing that. Once I've got my first test run done, I will probably share that. Try to not have the neighbours be involved in my vlog here. So my patchouli, I'm enjoying my patchouli a whole lot. And I think that's it, more or less. I've got a Tumo lesson planned, several actually, but I haven't recorded them yet. And if you see this and you're in here for Tumo, it depends on my neighbours whether I'll be able to film tomorrow. Because if they're constantly drilling and hammering, that's not going to happen. It's not going to make any more sense. If I can do it, I will. And I've got the material, it's all there. So sooner or later they'll come out anyway. It's possible that I may have to postpone the work for just a bit longer until things have settled down in my neighborhood. That's just the door to my room. It's the draft, okay? There's no ghosts here, at least none that I have encountered. So, thank you for watching, you guys. This is getting quite dark. I'm going to end this right here. Thank you for watching, and I'll be seeing you as soon as possible. ASAP, okay? Thank you. See you then. Bye-bye.